The universe has a way of keeping score, and when someone wrongs you, it quietly begins working behind the scenes to balance the scales. Most people think karma is just some mystical concept, but the truth is, it shows up in very real and obvious ways that you can actually see happening around you. When someone hurts you, lies to you, or betrays your trust, you might feel helpless in the moment. You might wonder if they will ever face any consequences for what they did to you. But here is what most people do not understand about karma. It does not just happen randomly. It follows specific patterns and gives clear signs that justice is on its way. Today, we are going to talk about 5 unmistakable signs that karma is actively working against someone who wronged you. These are not vague spiritual ideas or wishful thinking. These are real, concrete things you can observe happening in their life. When you see these signs, you will know that the universe is handling your situation, even when it seems like nothing is happening on the surface. Before we dive in, it is crucial that you watch this entire video from start to finish. Do not skip around or jump to different parts, because each sign builds on the previous one. If you want to save time, watch at 1.5 or 2 times speed instead of skipping sections. Missing even one part could mean missing the exact sign you need to recognize in your own situation right now. Now that we have set the stage, let me tell you something that might sound almost too perfect to be true, but I promise you, it is happening all around us every single day. Think about a boomerang for a second. You throw it out and what happens? It comes flying right back to you. Karma works exactly the same way, except instead of a wooden toy, we are talking about actions and energy. Here is where things get really interesting, and this is our first sign that karma is actively working against someone who wronged you. The universe has this incredible way of making sure that whatever energy someone puts out into the world gets returned to them in the exact same form. I am not talking about some mystical mumbo-jumbo here. I am talking about real, observable patterns that you can see happening right in front of your eyes. When someone lies to you, cheats you, or betrays your trust, they are essentially throwing their own personal boomerang out into the universe. And just like that wooden boomerang, their actions are going to come flying right back at them. The beautiful thing about this is that you do not have to do anything. You do not have to plot revenge or spend sleepless nights thinking about how to get them back. The universe handles all of that for you. Let me paint you a picture of how this actually looks in real life. Say someone at work threw you under the bus to make themselves look better. They lied about something you did or took credit for your hard work. Well, within a few weeks or months you might notice that this same person starts getting lied to by their own colleagues. Maybe their boss starts questioning their honesty. Maybe their friends start doubting the stories they tell. Maybe their romantic partner catches them in a lie and loses trust in them. The person who wronged you will start experiencing the exact same treatment they gave you, but it will come from completely different people in their life. They might get betrayed by a close friend. They might have someone take credit for their work. They might find out that people have been talking behind their back the same way they talked behind yours. What makes this even more fascinating is that these people usually have no idea why this is happening to them. They will sit there confused, wondering why everyone is suddenly being so mean to them. They will complain about how unfair everyone is being. They will play the victim and act like the whole world is against them. But what they do not realize is that they set this whole chain of events in motion when they decided to wrong you. The timing of this mirror effect is usually pretty consistent. It does not happen immediately, which is why some people think they got away with their bad behavior. But karma is patient. It takes time to line up all the pieces. Usually, within a few weeks to a few months after someone wrongs you, you will start seeing their own actions reflected back at them through other people and situations in their life. The best part about recognizing this pattern is that it gives you peace of mind. When you see someone who hurt you starting to experience the same kind of hurt from others, you know that karma is working. You know that justice is being served, even if it is not coming directly from you. This is sign number 1 out of 5 that karma is coming for someone who wronged you, and trust me, once you start looking for it, you will see it everywhere. Now, There is something deeply unsettling about watching someone you once cared about slowly lose everyone around them, even if that person hurt you badly. It is like watching a house of cards collapse in slow motion. You know it is going to fall, but seeing it actually happen still catches you off guard. I remember hearing about a situation where someone had consistently manipulated and hurt the people closest to them. At first, this person seemed to have it all together. They had a solid group of friends, a loving family who supported them, and a romantic relationship that looked perfect from the outside. But here is what most people do not understand about toxic behavior. It is like a slow poison that eventually contaminates everything it touches. When someone makes a habit of wronging others, they create this invisible pattern that starts to affect every relationship in their life. It does not happen overnight, and that is what makes it so powerful. The person who hurt you might think they are getting away with their behavior because the consequences are not immediate. But karma has a way of building up pressure behind the scenes. Think about what happens when someone consistently lies, manipulates, or betrays trust. They might fool people for a while, but eventually their true character starts to show through the cracks. Friends begin to notice inconsistencies in their stories. Family members start to feel emotionally drained after spending time with them. Romantic partners begin to question whether they can really trust this person with their heart. The isolation does not happen all at once. It starts with small things. Maybe a close friend stops calling as often. Maybe family gatherings become tense when this person is around. Maybe their romantic partner starts pulling away emotionally. At first, the person might not even notice these subtle changes. But as time goes on, the pattern becomes impossible to ignore. What makes this different from normal relationship problems is the scope of it. We all have disagreements and rough patches with people we care about. But when karma is at work, this person will start having problems across all their relationships at the same time. It is not just one friend who pulls away. It is multiple friends. It is not just tension with one family member. It is tension with several. It is not just issues in their romantic relationship. It is issues everywhere they turn. The person who wronged you will often become genuinely confused about why everyone seems to be turning against them. They will start asking questions like, "Why is everyone being so difficult lately?" Or, "Why does nobody understand me anymore?" They might even reach out to you, the person they hurt, looking for support because they feel like everyone else has abandoned them. But here is what they do not realize. People are not turning against them randomly. Their toxic behavior has been slowly poisoning their relationships for months or even years. The lies, the manipulation, the selfishness, the lack of empathy, all of these things add up over time. Eventually, people get tired of being hurt, disappointed, or taken advantage of. The beautiful thing about this karmic pattern is that it happens naturally. The people in this person's life are not plotting against them or trying to punish them. They are simply protecting themselves from someone who has proven to be harmful to their emotional well-being. When someone consistently shows you who they are through their actions, people eventually start believing them and acting accordingly. Watching someone who hurt you experience this kind of isolation can bring mixed feelings. Part of you might feel satisfied that they are finally facing consequences for their actions. But another part of you might feel sad, especially if you once cared about this person. That is completely normal and shows that you still have empathy, which is actually a beautiful thing about who you are as a person. This is sign number 2 out of 5 that karma is working against someone who wronged you. When you see their support system crumbling and their relationships falling apart one by one, you can be confident that the universe is handling your situation. And hey, if you are finding this information as eye-opening as I think you are, and you have not already hit that subscribe button, now would be a perfect time to do that. We are just getting started, and the next signs are going to blow your mind even more. All right, here is where things get absolutely mind-blowing, and I am talking about the kind of stuff that will make you believe in cosmic justice on a whole new level. What I am about to share with you is probably the most satisfying sign of karma in action, and it happens more often than you might think. Picture this. Someone wrongs you, and at the time, they seem to be winning at everything. Their career is soaring, their business is booming, money is flowing in, and everyone seems to respect and admire them. Meanwhile, you are left dealing with the pain and consequences of what they did to you. It feels unfair, right? It feels like bad people get rewarded while good people suffer. But here is what most people do not see coming, and this is going to change how you look at success forever. Karma has this incredible way of targeting the exact areas where someone feels most confident and accomplished. It is like the universe looks at their life and says, "Oh, you think you are untouchable in your career? Let me show you something interesting." When karma decides to balance the scales, it does not mess around with small stuff. It goes straight for the foundation of everything they have built. That promotion they were so sure about. Suddenly it goes to someone else. That business deal that was supposedly guaranteed. It falls through at the last minute. That reputation they worked so hard to build, it starts to crumble piece by piece. The timing of this is what makes it so obvious that karma is at work. These are not random setbacks or normal business fluctuations. These are systematic failures that happen right after they have wronged someone. The person might have been riding high on success for years, but suddenly everything they touch starts turning to dust. I am talking about real concrete things here. Job losses that come out of nowhere, even when they thought their position was secure. Business ventures that fail spectacularly, even when all the market research said they should succeed. Financial problems that spiral out of control, even when they were previously great with money. Professional relationships that sour overnight, even with people who used to be their biggest supporters. What makes this even more fascinating is that these failures often happen despite their best efforts. They might be working harder than ever before, putting in longer hours, trying every strategy they can think of, but nothing works. It is like there is some invisible force working against them, blocking every path to success they try to take. The most telling part is how these setbacks affect them emotionally. Someone who used to be confident and self-assured suddenly becomes anxious and desperate. They start making poor decisions because they are operating from a place of fear instead of confidence. This creates a downward spiral where their desperation leads to even more failures. You might notice them becoming increasingly frustrated and bitter. They might start blaming external factors for their problems, the economy, their competitors, their employees, anyone but themselves. They might even reach out to you, asking for advice or support, completely oblivious to the fact that their current situation is connected to how they treated you. The beautiful irony is that the very success they were so proud of becomes the source of their greatest pain. The career they bragged about becomes a source of stress and embarrassment. The business they built becomes a financial burden. The reputation they polished becomes tarnished and damaged. But here is what makes this sign of karma so powerful for your own healing journey. Seeing their success reverse helps you realize that their previous achievements were built on a foundation of negative energy. True, lasting success comes from treating people well, acting with integrity, and building genuine relationships. When someone achieves success through manipulation, exploitation, or by stepping on others, that success is inherently unstable. This is sign number 3 out of 5 that karma is working against someone who wronged you. When you see their achievements starting to unravel and their lucky streak coming to an end, you can rest assured that the universe is restoring balance. And listen, if this information is opening your eyes to how karma really works, and you want to support the incredible research and work that goes into creating these videos, you can show your appreciation by clicking that thanks button right below this video. Every bit of support helps us continue bringing you these life-changing insights. Now, let us continue because the next sign is going to show you how karma affects them on an even deeper level. What I am about to share with you is perhaps the most profound lesson about how karma works, and it is something that will change how you understand the connection between our actions and our physical well-being forever. This is not just about someone getting what they deserve. This is about understanding how the human body and mind respond when we carry the weight of our wrongdoings. The truth is, when someone consistently hurts others, their body keeps a record of everything they have done. Science has shown us that guilt, shame, and negative emotions create real physical changes in our bodies. Stress hormones flood our system, our immune system weakens, and our energy levels plummet. This is not mystical. This is biology. When you start paying attention to someone who wronged you, you might notice that they begin to look different. Their skin might lose its healthy glow and start looking dull or aged. Their eyes might lose that spark of vitality they once had. They might start gaining or losing weight in unhealthy ways. Their posture might change, becoming more hunched or defeated-looking. But the changes go much deeper than appearance. People who carry the burden of wrongdoing often experience chronic fatigue that no amount of sleep seems to fix. They might start getting sick more frequently, catching every cold that goes around, dealing with mysterious aches and pains, or developing health issues that doctors cannot fully explain. Their mental clarity starts to fade, and they might seem scattered, forgetful, or unable to focus the way they used to. One of the most telling signs is how accident-prone they become. They might start having more fender benders, tripping and falling more often, or having strange mishaps that never used to happen to them. It is as if their body and mind are so weighed down by negative energy that they cannot navigate the world as smoothly as they once did. What makes this particularly heartbreaking to witness is how their usual ways of coping stop working. Maybe they used to be able to blow off steam by exercising, but now workouts leave them feeling more drained than energized. Maybe they used to find comfort in social activities, but now being around people feels exhausting. Maybe they used to be able to distract themselves with hobbies or entertainment, but nothing seems to bring them joy anymore. This creates a vicious cycle that becomes almost impossible to break. Poor physical health leads to poor mental health, which leads to poor decision-making, which creates more problems in their life, which leads to more stress and guilt, which further damages their physical health. It is like watching someone trapped in quicksand. The more they struggle, the deeper they sink. The most tragic part is that deep down on some level, they know what is causing their decline. Their conscience might be buried under layers of justification and denial, but it is still there, quietly eating away at them. They might not consciously connect their health problems to their past actions, but their body knows. Their soul knows. And that knowledge manifests as a heaviness that affects everything they do. You might notice that they seem to have lost their natural charisma or charm. Conversations with them feel more draining than they used to. Their laugh might sound forced or hollow. This is why ancient wisdom traditions have always taught that hurting others ultimately hurts ourselves. When we wrong someone, we do not just damage our relationship with that person, we damage our relationship with ourselves. We create an internal conflict between who we want to be and who our actions show us to be. That conflict has to go somewhere, and more often than not, it shows up in our physical and mental health. Understanding this sign of karma is crucial because it helps you realize that justice is not just about external consequences. It is about the internal reckoning that every person must face when they have acted against their own moral compass. When someone wrongs you, they are not just hurting you, they are setting themselves up for a decline in their own well-being that will affect every area of their life. This is sign number 4 out of 5 that karma is working against someone who wronged you. When you see their vitality diminishing and their health declining, you are witnessing the profound truth that our bodies and minds are designed to thrive when we live in harmony with our values, and to suffer when we do not. The universe does not need to punish them. They are punishing themselves simply by being out of alignment with their own moral center. Now, take a moment and think about someone in your life who you once thought was amazing, but then you discovered something about them that completely changed how you saw them. Maybe you found out they had been lying about something important, or maybe you witnessed them treating someone badly when they thought no one was looking. How did that revelation make you feel? How did it change your relationship with that person? Now imagine that happening not just to you, but to multiple people in that person's life, all around the same time. That is exactly what happens when karma decides it is time for someone's true character to be revealed to the world. This is the fifth and final sign that karma is working against someone who wronged you, and it might be the most devastating one of all. Think about the people in your own life who have hurt you. When they wronged you, they probably thought they were being clever. They probably believed they had gotten away with something, that their reputation was intact, that no one would ever know what they had really done. But here is something most people do not understand about truth. It has its own timeline, and it has its own way of surfacing when the time is right. Have you ever noticed how secrets have a way of coming out at the worst possible moments? How lies have a tendency to unravel just when someone thinks they are safe? How people's true colors seem to show themselves right when it matters most? That is not coincidence. That is karma orchestrating the perfect moment for truth to be revealed. When this sign manifests in someone's life, it usually starts with one revelation. Maybe someone discovers a lie they told years ago. Maybe evidence surfaces of something they thought was buried forever. Maybe a witness comes forward with information that changes everything. At first, it might seem like an isolated incident, something they can explain away or cover up. But here is where karma gets really interesting. Once one truth comes to light, it creates a domino effect. People start questioning other things about this person. They start looking more closely at their behavior and their stories. They start comparing notes with each other and realizing that this person has been deceiving multiple people in similar ways. Suddenly, the carefully crafted image this person has maintained starts to crumble. The people who once admired them, respected them, or looked up to them begin to see them for who they really are. Friends start distancing themselves. Colleagues begin to question their integrity. Family members start to lose trust. Professional contacts start to doubt their credibility. What makes this particularly painful for the person experiencing it is that they often make it worse by trying to defend themselves. They might create elaborate explanations for their behavior. They might blame others for misunderstanding them. They might even try to paint themselves as the victim in the situation. But every attempt to justify their actions only makes them look more guilty and more manipulative. Have you ever watched someone dig themselves deeper into a hole with every word they speak? That is exactly what happens during a reputation collapse. The more they try to control the narrative, the more obvious it becomes that they are not trustworthy. The more they try to convince people of their innocence, the more guilty they appear. The most profound part of this process is watching how it affects the person's sense of identity. For years, they might have defined themselves by how others saw them. They might have taken pride in their reputation, their image, their standing in the community. But when all of that crumbles, they are forced to confront who they really are, underneath all the pretense. This revelation does not just happen to strangers or acquaintances, it happens to the people closest to them. Their children might lose respect for them. Their spouse might question everything about their relationship. Their best friends might realize they never really knew them at all. The people whose opinions matter most are the ones who get the clearest view of their true character. What does this mean for you as someone who was wronged by this person? It means that eventually the truth about what they did to you will make sense to everyone around them. People will start to see patterns in their behavior. They will realize that what happened to you was not an isolated incident, but part of a larger pattern of how this person treats others. The validation that comes from this can be incredibly healing. For months, or maybe even years, you might have felt like you were the only one who saw this person's true nature. You might have felt gaslit or crazy for believing that someone who seemed so wonderful to everyone else could have treated you so badly. But when their reputation collapses, your experience gets validated in a way that no apology ever could. This is sign number 5 out of 5 that karma is coming for someone who wronged you. When you see their carefully constructed image falling apart and their true character being revealed to the world, you know that justice is being served in the most complete way possible. The universe has not just balanced the scales, It has ensured that everyone can see exactly who this person really is. Now that you have seen all 5 signs of how karma works its magic, let me ask you something important. After everything we have discussed today, are you really going to go back to obsessing over someone who wronged you? Are you going to keep giving them free space in your head when the universe is already handling everything for you? Because here is the truth. Recognizing these signs is not about finding satisfaction in someone else's pain. It is about finding peace in knowing that justice exists, even when you cannot see it working. It is about understanding that karma operates on its own perfect timeline, not yours. While you have been losing sleep and energy thinking about what this person did to you, the universe has been quietly arranging consequences that you could never have orchestrated yourself. The beautiful thing about understanding how karma works is that it frees you from the exhausting burden of trying to get revenge. You do not have to plot, scheme, or waste your precious time and energy trying to make someone pay for what they did. That job belongs to the universe, and frankly, the universe is much better at it than you could ever be. When you see these signs happening to someone who hurt you, let them bring you relief, not satisfaction. Let them remind you that there is a natural order to things, that actions have consequences, and that justice will always find a way to balance the scales. Use this knowledge to close that painful chapter of your life and focus on writing new, beautiful chapters filled with your own growth and happiness. The person who wronged you has already set their own consequences in motion. Your job now is to heal, to grow, and to create a life so amazing that their actions become nothing more than a distant memory that made you stronger and wiser. If you walk away from this video and go right back to dwelling on past hurts instead of focusing on your bright future, you would be making one of the most foolish decisions of your life. You now have the knowledge and wisdom to set yourself free. Do not waste it by staying stuck in old patterns that serve no one, especially not you. The universe has an incredible way of knowing exactly what you need to see next, so make sure you click on that video that is about to pop up on your screen. Trust the algorithm. It knows which piece of wisdom will serve your journey best right now.